please share also the meeting link with your colleagues? All right, I think we can start, but please share the meeting link with your colleagues as well so that we'll have more audience for tonight's webinar. So we can now start. Welcome to the webinar of Inclusive Astronomy in Nigeria, Beginners Guide for Africans and Beyond. So for tonight, we have our special guest, Peter Okagu, the NOC for Nigeria, and we are highlighting the region, the best practices in the region in inclusive astronomy. This will be recorded and it will be uploaded in YouTube. Please feel free to share that as well. So we will provide a link once it's uploaded. So for introduction, by the way, my name is Christine, and with me is Cesare and Cynthia who are leading this working group. And we have this webinar, so we highlight best practices of countries and regions in inclusive astronomies, and we've been doing this for about 2 to 3 years now, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so without further ado, let me introduce to you Peter Okagu. So Okagu Peter is a space scientist and amateur astronomer at NASRDA Center for Basic Space Science and Astronomy, Nsukka, Nigeria. He is currently the National Outreach Coordinator of the IAU-Office for Astronomy Outreach in Nigeria. Peter is a science communicator and has been a key astronomy outreach in Nigeria for the past 5 years. In 2024, he was part of the team that pioneered the first inclusive astronomy workshop in Nigeria and the University of Nigeria in Nsukka. To date, Peter is an advocate for inclusive astronomy education and the use of astronomy as a tool in achieving sustainable development goals. So I will give the screen now to Peter, and after his talk, we will have a Q&A session, and please feel free to ask as well in our chat. All right, so take it away, Peter.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for whatever part of the world you're joining us from. So let me share my screen. So the presentation, for how many minutes am I going to be talking?
You can use, feel free to use like 30 to 45 minutes, and then we'll have the Q&A after. So you have the whole 1 hour for the session.
Okay, thank you so much. So, by way of introduction, my name is Peter Okagu, the IAU. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. By way of introduction, my name is Peter Okagu, the IAU-OAO National Outreach Coordinator for Nigeria from the NASRDA-Centre for Basic Space Science and Astronomy in Nsukka here in Nigeria. So basically, this is a webinar where I'll be talking on inclusive astronomy in Nigeria, beginner's guide for Africa and beyond. Or about inclusive astronomy or inclusive education. What we're trying to say is that every human being on planet Earth has the right to a quality education. And here we're talking about using astronomy as a tool to help people with special needs discover themselves. And that's what we're doing here for the past 2-3 years in Nigeria, using inclusive education, helping a lot of people with special needs to understand themselves and pick a career in STEM and scientific fields. So I'll be going straight to the outlines. The outlines will have the introduction, where to begin for starters, the role of IAU over the years and the SDGs, OAO team in Nigeria and affiliates, the birth of inclusive astronomy in 2024, method adopted for outreach, resources local and international, team experience, outreach funding and local partnership, adoption of ambassadors, outreaches to date, statistics, conclusion, acknowledgement, questions and answer. As a way of introduction, when we talk about astronomy education or inclusive astronomy education, we're trying to find a way of combining learning with accessibility, diversity, and equity. So what I'm trying to say is astronomy is for all. Nobody is exempted. Everybody must have rights to quality education, and we're using astronomy as a tool in helping them discover who they want to be in future. When we look at this, we'll talk about the societal negligence. The consequences of the society neglecting inclusive astronomy education is enormous. One, it reduces access to quality STEM opportunities. The second one, lack of diverse perspective in scientific field. That is one of the problems with societal negligence, and also missed opportunities for innovation and progress. A society that don't have this idea of going for things, innovations, the progress they will get will not be that much compared to societies that are open to innovations. So what we're trying to do here is trying to use the inclusive astronomy education to tell them that this society negligence towards inclusive astronomy is affecting some sect of people with special needs, and is not good for them and their educational development. We looked at the Africa negligence. In Africa, I'm sure of Nigeria and South Africa piloting when they're they're the front run of inclusive astronomy education in Nigeria, in Africa as a whole. I'm not sure of other Africa countries. Maybe they might be doing, but I'm sure of South Africa and Nigeria. They are the front run of inclusive astronomy education. And the negligence from Africa, the African negligence has faced numerous factors. One of the factors is limited resources, where we don't have the right resources to help in inclusive astronomy education. Second one is socio-economic disparities. What are we talking about the disparities? We're talking about how we treat people with special needs, how we provide opportunities to them, for them to have the right opportunities. Another thing we looked at that causes the negligence is cultural and language barrier. You know, in Africa, we have the English-speaking countries and the French-speaking countries. And that has been a problem among us sharing ideas. But thanks to technology these days, sharing ideas is a bit easier. You can use language translator to translate from English to French and from French to English, and that has helped a lot. And that is one thing I liked about the OAO. You cannot apply for a grant to carry out a project on your own as an NOC in a country. You must partner with a different NOC from a particular country of your choice. And that helps us to share ideas and knowledge on what we've been doing. And that's helped a lot. Another thing we looked at when we wanted to go into inclusive astronomy education was the sustainable development goals. We cannot just start a project without having the goals we want to achieve. And then I and my team will sat down and looked at what are we even trying to do? What are we trying to do here? What do we want to achieve? How do we go about these things? Then we said, okay, let's look at the sustainable development goals. The one we can work with that will tailor us towards having a successful project at the end of the day. So we looked at 3 sustainable development goals. So the first one we looked at was the number 3, good health and well-being. You cannot just come to people and talk to them and tell them you are here to teach them astronomy without asking them how mentally, are they okay to take what you want to talk to them about? So first of all, start with an awareness on mental health, talking to them about their mental health and how they can be okay, and how they can preserve the earth, which is the only one sustainable for us for now. Let's keep the earth clean and sustainable for us. So we started with good health and mental well-being. The next SDG goal we looked at was SDG goal number 4, that talks about quality education. Okay, we want to bring these people in inclusive education using astronomy as a tool. How do we do this? We'll make it simple for them, make them have the access to quality education by tailoring our project towards the SDG goal number 4 that talks about quality education. Another one we looked at was SDG number 5 that talks about gender equality. We cannot just say we're looking for the male version, the males, and forget about the female and others. We brought everybody together and told them this is for everybody. Astronomy is for all and for everybody everywhere. So these are the 3 SDG goals we looked at when we wanted to start inclusive astronomy education in Nigeria. And that helped us to achieve a lot. Another part we want to look at is the universal goal. When we talk about universal goal, we're talking about making astronomy accessible to everybody. That is one of the goals. And also promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion in STEM field. That's another goal, one of the universal goals also. Another one is fostering curiosity, creativity, and critical thinking among them. That will help them a lot. When you want to talk to them or when you want to teach them, that will go a long way to help them. Another thing we looked at was these things will tailor down. These goals that will tailor down. There are barriers to this. How do we overcome these barriers? And one of the barriers is cultural and language barrier. How do we overcome them? We did everything possible to allow them. Like sometimes we teach in local languages for them to understand what we want to tell them. And that helped us a lot and also helped them a lot in doing what they wanted to do. So one thing we looked at is breaking down barriers to education. Everything that will be a barrier to the quality education we want to give to them, we break them down by doing our possible best to reduce this to the minimum possible best we can, which is language and culture, which is very important in Africa. So we concentrated on that and it helped us a lot to achieve a lot. Another thing we looked at is encourage diverse perspectives. Allow them share their ideas. What do you think we should go about this? How do you want us to do this? They were all happy sharing the ideas, we exchanged ideas, and that helped us a lot. Another one we looked at was develop a broader understanding of the universe. You can't be talking to children or those that have not heard about astronomy by using ambiguous words, very big terms for them. It will be confusing to them. So we sat down as a team and told ourselves, we're going to break down these topics to the minimum, to the best of their understanding, using the simple terms of astronomy to teach them. And that will help them to understand where we're coming from. And that helped us a lot. And everybody, they enjoyed what we did. They were happy. We were happy. At the end, we had a successful project. So the next on my slide is where to begin for a starter. You can believe that anything good do not come easy. If you want to do anything very, very good, it doesn't come easy sometimes. So you have to strive and do your best to do what you want to do. And that is one of the key things right at the back of our mind. We must achieve these things, but we'll have to tailor it down to something. And one thing that helped us in achieving what we wanted to do was the SDGs. SDG 3, 4, and 5. As for a beginner, these are the first things you put down on your table. You tell yourself, where do I start from? What problem am I solving? How do I solve this problem? What do I face? Who am I facing? How do I go about it? Because the IAU have mission and vision. And they always, whatever they do, they tell it down to the SDGs. And you can't do anything without the SDGs these days. And that helped us a lot. As for a starter, the first thing you do is identify the SDGs you want to work with. That will be good for you. The other thing, you identify your audience. Who are the people I want to talk to? How do I go about talking to them? How do I get to meet them? You meet the right authorities and they'll tell you how to go about it. And that's where you talk about partnership with the right organizations. You go to the right organizations, like in Nigeria here, before we started, we had a series of meetings with Ministry of Education. We went to the Department for Special Education. We spoke to them. We gave them the template of what we want to do. And they also told us, okay, this is very nice. This is a very good idea and initiative that they will help us and make it easier for us, introduce us to the schools. There are a lot of special education centers in Nigeria, but we told them we want to start first. Let's see how it goes. If the success record is high, then we'll know we'll use this pattern to go about in other special centers. And that helped us. We started, met them. They brought out their professionals because these special education centers also have teachers, educators that teach them. So we met with them, had a series of meetings. They trained us, we trained them. They trained us by telling us how to go about talking to the students and how they react to things. And also told them, okay, this is what we want to do. We want to use astronomy as a tool in helping these children discover who they want to be in future. And from there, we forged a partnership. Another thing we did is we had a series of meetings with international partners, and that also helped us. So please, I won't be dwelling much on this. Let me go to the next slide because of time. It's enormous. The IAU has done a lot when it comes to inclusive astronomy through their office, the OAO, the Office for Education, for Development, and for Outreach. They have helped a lot in propagating inclusive astronomy all over the world. Just like one of the inclusive astronomy inspiring stars, that is the one hosting this webinar. What they do mostly is gather information, share, bring you in, and tell you, okay, we saw what you did. Can you come teach others or share your experiences and your success story towards what you did? How did you do it? Was it successful? Please, we need you to come share your experiences, just like I'm doing now. I was invited by Inspiring Stars under the OAO to come share my experience, and I'm grateful for this opportunity. So the IAU plays an enormous role. One, the advocacy for equity and inclusion. That is one thing the IAU does. There's a document they published in 2019 at the IAU Symposium titled Springboks to Action. What is this document talking about? Streamline concrete actions, improving equity, inclusion, and diversity in astronomy. Nobody should be left out. Everybody must be included. That's one of the principles of the IAU, and that has helped a lot in helping us in carrying out our project. So this is my team. This is the OAO team in Nigeria. From the left-hand side, that is me, Peter, the OAO for Nigeria, and the other 7 persons who are very, very helpful during the time I want to take out this project, and it helped us a lot. By me looking at us, most of us, some of us are not astronomers. Some are biologists, some are microbiologists, geologists, mathematicians, statisticians, and that helped a lot. It's not all about what you study, it's about your passion in imparting in people. And this is us here. Now, let's go dive straight into the birth of inclusive astronomy in 2024. We've been doing outreaches to schools, primary, secondary, universities, communities, astronomy club, associations in Nigeria. We've been helping them with talking to people, teaching children what astronomy is all about, the fun part of it, and everything. So our director at the Center for Basic Space Science had a meeting with us and called us and told us there's something we're missing out in this outreach that we're not doing. And we were curious and said, sir, what is that? And he told us there are some part of people who are neglecting and it's not helping. So he told us about people with special needs. How do we bring them in? How do we bring them in using astronomy? We say, sir, okay, sir, give us a few weeks. Let's go think within ourselves and come out with something. We went, sat down, have our meeting, a series of meetings, series of interaction, shared ideas. So we came up with an idea through my co-NOC, Ojima, who applied for grant application under the OAD when they were calling for a grant application. She applied. Luckily enough for us, her application was accepted and was funded. And that led to the first maiden edition of Inclusive Astronomy in Nigeria at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. And the method was adopted as follows for the outreach: use of posters, visual aid, brailles, tactile resources, audio resources, screen recorder, caption videos. You look at the pictures on the screen here, you can see someone's hand reading the braille. That is one way we did it for them. We'll allow you read it out. You read what is on the braille for us. We'll explain to you. We'll give it to you to feel, and you understand what we're talking about. You can see some braille donated to us by AstroTag. We had some donation from the international body, and some will source them locally, and that helped us to carry out our outreach. Another thing is, how did we source our materials? How did we do it? We had local donation, and some were donated to us internationally. The one donated to us internationally was through Sebastian Moles, the director of outreach and accessibility of the AstroTech team. And that helped us a long AstroTech team, and that went a long way to help us in achieving what we want to achieve. For the local part, thanks to our center, Center for Basic Space Science and Astronomy, for helping us with the braille, with our 3D machine in printing some of the brailles that we needed, some of the tactile models that we needed for the outreach, for the workshop. And that helped us a lot. And some we sourced them locally, constructed by us. We sat down, did the work. It wasn't easy, but we know we're achieving something great, and we must sacrifice our time and resources to achieve them. So the next is team experience. This part is very important. Team experience is very, very important in whatever you want to do, especially a project as delicate as inclusive astronomy education. So we came up, we met, had a series of meetings, like I said earlier, with those more experienced internationally and some experienced ones in Nigeria, those who met at the Ministry of Education, those who met at the special education centers. We exchanged ideas, and they told us what to do, what not to do, how to go about them. And that helped us a lot in achieving a successful outing. Next, outreach funding and local partnership. Like I said earlier, we had our partnership with the Center for Basic Space Science. We had a partnership with the Ministry of Education in Nigeria, with the Special Education Board, also have a partnership with them. They gave us materials to go through. We shared our ideas with them. And for the funding part, thanks to the first maiden edition of this Inclusive Astronomy Workshop was first funded by OAD, Office of Astronomy for Development, through Ojima that applied, and she was funded. And the second one was funded through the OAO, which I applied. Nigeria and Ghana merged together to apply, and were funded to carry out the project because they saw the importance of the project in Africa, and thanks to them for believing in us. Adoption of ambassadors. This is another critical part that will help you to carry out a better and good outing when doing inclusive astronomy education workshop. What did we do? We brought in ambassadors, people with special needs that are more experienced, more like a role model to the children and some of them. They talk to them, calm them, speak to them in their languages that they understand, and tell them this thing is for your benefit and for the good of you. And they were happy. The ambassadors helped us. In the first one that we did, the maiden edition, we had about 18 of them came in, talked to them. Each of the tables will have each ambassador and a science communicator with them, talking to them on each of the tables. We had about 20 tables that we used, divided everybody, so that it to be easier for us to disseminate information and teach them properly. And that helps us a lot. So ambassadors are very, very important when you want to do inclusive astronomy education in any part of the world. Outreaches to date. This was the first maiden edition of the workshop we had on inclusive astronomy education. This is tagged AstroTag. That was what it was tagged. With the help of Center for Basic Space Science and Astronomy, in collaboration with IAU-Office of Astronomy for Development and the University of Nigeria, we had this workshop for 2 days at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Highlight of the event is tactile experience, but we'll talk to them, give them the tactile materials we have for them to feel. When you're talking to them about the solar system, you have to keep it in a way that they will see what you're doing and feel it, understand what you want to talk to them about. Also do universe awareness lecture. Also the Astro Health and Wellbeing lecture. This is what the part we're talking about. Their well-being is very important. You find a way to talk to them, for them to have calm mind and listen to you and enjoy you also. So this is for the first edition. This is me on the left-hand side, talking to one of the special needs students on the principles behind the radio telescope. So I was showing them the different parts of the radio telescopes and heard how they work. On the right-hand side, you see a colleague of mine also with an ambassador that is also telling the students, is teaching them on optical telescope and the working principles with the optical telescope. And a lot of them, we had an interactive section. We ask questions, they answer. They ask us questions, we give them the answers. And one thing you need to understand is these people can only understand what you're doing by feeling and hearing you. So when you want to talk to them or give them answers to questions, do try your possible best to give the right answer, because whatever you tell them is what they will take. So you give them the right answer and listen to them. Give them time to talk. And that will help you also to achieve what you want to do. On the second day, we talked about the solar system, the galaxies, the black holes, different data models that we did. Some of these things were constructed by us. If you look at on the right-hand side, you see the Saturn, the way we constructed it. We use cartons, we cut, did the cutting ourselves, and bought some balls. Each of the balls represents the sizes, the planet. So that's what we did. So each planet I pick, I tell them what it is, explain to them. I give it to them to feel. And I tell them, this particular size you're holding, this is not the real size, but you're using this as a template for you to understand what the solar system is all about and where we are. And they were all happy with what we did. This is some of us, some of the science communicators, some of us that worked with them. The lady in the middle holding a handbag is one of the ambassadors that helped us in talking to them. She was the one that even brought up the idea for us. He says, since we've done this in the university environment, wouldn't it be better for us to take this particular initiative to the primary and secondary school children? And we'll say, wow, a nice idea. That it will help them when they're coming up or when they get admissions to universities. It will be easier for them to understand what inclusive education is all about using astronomy. And we picked up our idea, we sat down within ourselves as a team, try to a way we can do to see how we can bring in the primary and secondary school children into the project. And it came out successfully also. Well, we started first. This is the one sponsored by the OAO. What we started first is, I and my team will sat down, I told them, see, we don't just go to schools or because we have gotten the approval to go and talk to them. We need to do something different. And what is that? Train the trainees. Since most of them are at different places in this country, we could not bring them together. We did an online pre-workshop by bringing experts to talk to them. And one of the experts we brought in was Mike Simons. Another one was Dr. Kelly Brumental. And we brought in somebody from Nigeria also that have done it before, the maiden one, which is Ojimoshin. And we said, okay, please, we have topics we need you to talk to teach people. These are educators. We need you to teach them and share your experiences with them so that when we want to go and carry out this project, it will be easier for us to do. And they all accepted, thanks to them for sharing their experience. For Mike Simons, he spoke on tactile astronomy for children, readily accessible tools for teaching. And while he was speaking, a lot of teachers were happy and they learned a lot. And he told them, there is challenges. There are challenges that you must meet when doing this, but you must overcome them in a simple term by doing things simple. But these people are not like you. They are special people. So you take your time to talk to them. You don't put them in a rush. You give them time to understand what you want to do and what you want to say. And he shared a lot of material with us, and that helped us also. So, and Dr. Kelly spoke on the role of the IAU and how IAU have been helping in promoting inclusive astronomy, making it accessible to everyone and everywhere. And that helped us a lot also. Then Ojima, who is in Nigeria here, spoke on, she was telling us tactile education in Nigeria and its challenges, the challenges that we face, Because from the first one we did, we had challenges and we're trying to find a way to solve it. And she shared her ideas on what to do and how to go about it. And that also helped us in achieving a lot of things. So then the main event happened on the 2nd or 3rd of July 2025 at the Special Education Center, Oji River in Enugu State, Southeast Nigeria. For us to carry out this project was because we had series of meetings, series of engagement with a lot of people to help us share the ideas and tell us what to do. And that helped us a lot. And that made the event a successful one. The children, they were even asking us to come back and teach them more because we had good feedbacks from them, and the feedbacks were good for us. A lot of them picked interest in STEM. A lot of them got basic knowledge on astronomy, and they were all happy. And we were also happy because we imparted in them. This is me on the left-hand side, talking to them. I'm talking to this particular set of people are the hearing impaired children with a sign language teacher by my side. So each of the ball I pick, I tell them what planet it is. And the sign language teacher will demonstrate to them and tell them, this is what this science educator is talking about. This is what this science communicator is telling you is talking about. It's telling you this is a particular planet. This is the distance of the planet from the sun. This is how many days it takes a planet to revolve around the sun. Blah, 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 and the rest, the characteristics and the rest. And that helped us a lot. When you look at the right-hand side, these are some of the donations we got and some of the things we sourced locally in carrying out this project. And that also helped us a lot in having a successful outing. On the second day, this is me on the right-hand side sorting out the brief papers where we'll use more of a teaching guide, aid that we use, manual that we use in teaching them. And one thing we did that helped us was we did an interactive section. We allow them talk, not just we alone talking to them. We allow them talk also. We gave them the brief. Like if you look at the left-hand side, you see a particular student trying to read with a hand by filling it. So we'll tell them, start, read to us what is on that brief paper. They'll read it out. We'll not tell, okay, let me explain what you just said. I will explain to them, give them the tactile model for them to feel and understand what they just read out. And that helped them a lot. This is also a colleague of mine and one of the sign language instructor. And this is me holding the big sun ball. I was talking to them about the dying and the birth of sun. And a lot of them were wowed with what she was telling them. And the sign language teacher was very, very helpful in teaching them and telling them. They were asking questions, we're answering them, or ask them, they will answer. It was an interactive section because if you keep talking and they're not saying anything, it becomes bored to them. And a lot of them will tell you they want to go. So you make an interview session for them to talk, express themselves. It will help them also in thinking critically about the universe. So that is one thing we did on the second day also. Then this is question, when they were asking questions, a sign language teacher will take the questions from them, translate it to us, we reply back, she give it to them. So it was an interactive section and they were all happy. And we were all happy. If you notice, you can see the way some of them are standing up to ask questions or answer questions. And that was very, very helpful. And one of the most interesting part of it is when we wanted to build this rocket. So we source these things locally. It's not things we have to just go do away with what we have. So this is a bottled water can, carbon paper, 3 pencils. We constructed a rocket and told them, okay, you people have seen what we constructed. They said yes. We say, okay, I'm going to group you into 3 groups. Do the same thing and let's see what you come out with. And good enough, they came out with this. The 3 group did this. Then later in the day, we launched it and they were all happy. And they said, we launched it later in the day and they were all happy. The next day, I came back the next day to get some things and get feedback from them. I saw them constructing it on their own and launching it. And I was happy. And so in inclusive astronomy education, you must be ready to do a lot of things, listen to them. You don't be in a hurry to talk to them because their lifestyle or way of life is quite different from ours. So we do everything possible to run at their own frequency. Now, gender ratio. from the first maiden edition of the project and the second one. Had about 420 persons altogether, 235 male participants, 175 female participants, and 10 others for the two maiden edition. And within I and my team sat down and said, we're making impact. Talking to 420 persons is not easy. And thank goodness the impact is showing. A lot of them are picking interest in STEM studies. Now, one thing we did is before we start any of the workshop, we present to them pre-questionnaires to answer to ascertain how far and how well they know about astronomy and STEM. So when you look at this chart, you see average knowledge in astronomy to the female is about 33%. Average interest in STEM for the female is about 45%. That is during the pre-assessment. For the male, it's about 38% for knowledge in astronomy. Interest in STEM is about 47%. Total average of both the male and the female during the pre-assessment shows there's a 35 increase knowledge in STEM and the 43% increase in, no, there's a 35% increase knowledge in astronomy and a 43% increase in STEM, knowledge in STEM. And that helped them a lot also and helped us a lot so that when we're done with the pre-questioning and talking to them, we gave them questions when we're done. And that one was the post-assessment. So we gave them post-assessment for them to answer. And there was a very good improvement, and that helped us also to understand where we're coming from so that when we want to give feedback to the agencies, to the ministry, and to the Special Education Center on what to do, they will follow suit on what to just present to them and tell them, okay, we went to do this. Look at the total of people that had knowledge in astronomy, and look at the total of people that declared interest in STEM. And that will help them to, when putting out their policies and support, they know the way to tailor them around. And that also helped us. So in conclusion, when we talk about inclusive astronomy education, what are we saying? Every hand must be on deck. We must all come together to make this a reality. The IAU-OAO team in Nigeria is open to collaborations and sharing of its resources with interested teams across the globe willing to start. Any team, any part of the world that is willing to start, we're ready to share our resources with you. Here is the link to our resources. It's open to anybody. You get to us, we'll give you the link to the resources, you make use of them. So we're not hiding it, it's open to anybody that wants. Thank you, everybody. So another thing I want to do is I want to acknowledge some agencies and some associations that helped us. One, the IAU, through the Office of Astronomy for Outreach. They helped us a lot by funding the project. The OAD also funded the project. And that's helped us in the long run. Also want to thank the National Space Agency, Center for Basic Space Science and Astronomy in Nsukka here, our director, Dr. Benaventure Ukere, for always advocating for inclusive education using astronomy, and also our DG, Dr. Matthew Adeboju, for also advocating for inclusive education in Nigeria and in Nigeria curriculum and education system. Another thing I want to talk is the WAROD office, the West Africa Regional Office of Astronomy for Development, for helping us with some materials, some resources to carrying out this project to a successful conclusion. Thank you for listening. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Inspiring Star, for giving me this opportunity to share my experience, challenges, and success story. Thank you all.
Thank you, Peter, for a very, very nice presentation and for sharing all the things. There are lots of things that you're doing for Nigeria and for Africa. So for now, let's open the floor to questions and answers from our audience. You can also type in your question in the comment section. But, feel free also to unmute your mic and you can ask Peter directly. All right, Timothy? And then Manuel.
Hello?
Yes,
I don't know if you can hear
now.
me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Mine is more of a recommendation to the Peter and also to the OAO team Nigeria. So for starters, it's not always easy. I know what he went through with the team in order to ensure that we got to where we are today. Just like he said, especially in Africa where we have limited resources. I know from my knowledge, I think we have just South Africa and Nigeria currently serious with inclusive astronomy education in Africa. So what I want to do is that actually when I got the link to register for this event, I felt this is actually a platform for him to actually showcase what he has done over time. And I must appreciate him and the team, although I'm part of that team, but I'm more often with other things. So most of the times I join, I help, I assist, but I must give it to him for his vision, for his doggedness, and also a shout out to all the members of that team. I must give it to them that they have done a very great job. Even with limited resources, sometimes he has to fund some of these projects with his money because we don't have the funding for that. And for that, I must say, thank you for a job well done in Africa and in Nigeria.
Thank you, Timothy. Peter, do you want
Thank
to say something?
you. Yeah, let me say something. Thank you, Timothy, for that words of encouragement from you. I feel I don't know what to say, but thank you so much. I'm happy about what you said. It's a part of you're pushing me more to do more. They say to whom much is given, much is expected. So thank you so much for that words of encouragement from you. Thank you.
Manuel?
Yes, thank you. First of all, congratulations for the job you're doing. For the short period of time that I could see, this is an amazing way to do outreach to people that also are part of the universe, and because of their limitations and difference, they don't have the chance to perceive it and know it better. I have tried to make some things similar as you do because I do outreach in different educational institutions in my country. Sorry, can you listen to me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
And sometime I was requested to create, if I could go to people with sight disability to do outreach about astronomy. And I figured out some elements that I'm working on it to go there and showing the surface of the moon with a sphere of the moon that have relief in detail of the valleys and the craters, and also some sheets with the shapes of the constellations marked with grain of rocks, like the shape of the constellation, and show them the position of the stars and also the thing. But my question is, how you develop the material you use with them? Are you assisted by a people that have already this disability and have astronomy knowledge? And how are you testing which of the methods you use are better for the outreach events of them, or are you just using all the elements you have no matter the effectiveness? Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for your question and for everything you said. One thing you did was sourcing for resources in Africa here is quite difficult. So find a way to use what we have to get what we want. And that has helped us a lot. That is one thing. Two, we are using different models for different level of education. The model we use for those in the university environment is different from what we're using for those in primary school. It's different from what we're using for those in secondary school. And that is why we said, we're going to go back to the drawing board. Let's start from the primary school and secondary school. Let them have the basic knowledge of what astronomy is all about. And that will help them in future. And that is what we started with. After we finish from the university, we have to go back and find a way of doing it for those in primary and secondary school, using a different model entirely. You understand what I'm saying, sir?
Yes, yes.
Above all, the use of tactile models is the best, because people with visually impaired, they do not see, so they only feel. So when you talk to them, you give them those things to feel, and they will understand what you're talking about and where you're heading to. Then for those that are hearing impaired, what you do is that you bring in sign language teachers to also talk to them. By when you say something or you tell them, okay, we're going to talk about the sun. This is what the sun is all about. The language teacher will help you to demonstrate whatever they're doing there. He will help you to demonstrate what the communicator is trying to communicate to you. How do we go about this? And they help you to tell them this is what he's saying for the hearing impaired. So the hearing impaired will do more of demonstration. For the visual impaired, for them to understand. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, thank you for your answer. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, both Manuel and Peter. Are there any more questions from the group? Maybe I can also ask. You've done a lot of outreach and activities for Nigeria and Africa. So, which one do you think is the most challenging of all the activities that you've done?
The most challenging is the first, because that's the first outreach we organized, an inclusive outreach that we organized. So we made there for the second one for us. So the most challenging part is the one we did with university students. And thank goodness, from the experiences and series of meetings with our professionals, they helped us try to bring in our ideas to overcome the challenges in the first edition. But in the second edition, the challenges were little. So since we've done from the first, it helped us a lot in the second one. So the most challenge is the first. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Manuel, you're raising your hand.
Thank you. And sorry, I am very curious. And I have this question about the work you are doing. For example, have you tried to teach to people that have the regular sight, to show them how you show astronomy to people who cannot see? For example, you are in a regular school, and you will tell to them, for example, close your eyes, touch this. This is how they perceive the constellations using this kind of like a way to sensibilize the difference on perception of the universe on people that have this disability and those who not. Thank you.
Sorry, are you talking about those that are not? Are you talking about those with disabilities or not? Hello, Emmanuel. Can you hear me?
I'm talking about, for example, sorry I didn't come earlier to the meeting, but I assume that if you're doing some outreach and teaching people with the sight disability, the universe, your resources have a specific, configurations.
Targets, yes.
But exactly. But if you, for like a way to sensibilize people that do not have the disability, teach them and show them how you teach people with the disability with your elements, how is the sky, something that they can see everything down in your eyes. Have you tried this?
Yes, we have done that for people that don't have disability. Yes, we did it. We did something on planets and constellation. showing them that this is what the planet is. Of trying to make them understand that, okay, for those that don't have sight, you have sight. Can you imagine closing your eyes and doing something? And what do you think you're seeing with your mind and not with your eyes? And a lot of them were telling us, giving us a very good feedback, because we've spoken to them, taught them what we want to teach them. So we did the other part of it. Close your eyes and see, and let's see what you can give to us. And they were still giving us the same answer. So we've tried it before with those that can see. Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you very much. Thank you for your answer.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other questions from our audience? If none, maybe we can end this session. So again, thank you very much for attending this webinar. And I think this is our third webinar for this year. And thank you, Peter, for sharing all of your activities. But where can we find, or do you have like a paper or LinkedIn page where we can follow your work?
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this platform to share my experience. I'm happy and glad for all you did for me. I extend my greetings to Inspiring Stars for what they did. I'm grateful. Thank you all.
Thank you. So before we end, Cesar, do you have any announcement or anything you want to say before ending this session?
Thank you. No, just thanking again Peter for sharing his experience, because the whole purpose of these webinars is to help others, to follow the example, or to find ideas to replicate and expand the adoption of inclusive practices. So thank you, Peter, for his availability, and to everyone for participating. And just as a reminder, we do have a Facebook group where you can ask questions, share experiences, ideas, and so on. And all the contact and reference information is on our website. We are the CAP Inclusive Astronomy Communication Focus Group of the Office for Astronomy Outreach. If you want, I can post the link to the our website where you can find everything. But again, the Facebook group is also a good way to ask questions and be in touch with the community, let's say. This is the website coming in the chat, and you can find some resources and some information there. So that's all for me. And thanks again. Back to you, Christine.
Thank you, Cesare. And again, this will be uploaded on YouTube, so feel free to share your network once it's uploaded. So we'll share this also as well in our Facebook group and in our Basecamp group. So once the episode is uploaded on YouTube. So thank you again, and have a lovely day ahead to all of you. And see you next webinar. And also, if you're doing inclusive outreach and you want to share what you do, please let us know so we can organize another webinar or a session with you. So, all right. Thank you and have a good day. Bye all.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.